Hi everyone, tainomadica here, and I am really excited to welcome you to this new episode of Goddess Embodied. I have the pleasure and honor to host this beautiful creatrix, Monica Maria, today. And I just want to welcome everybody to this conversation. We'll be diving in to talk about some of the ways in which a beautiful goddess like Monica Aparicio, Monica Maria, is actually walking the path of Goddess Embodied. And thank you so much for joining today. And it's so wonderful to see your beautiful face. It's been a minute. And so I'm really grateful for this space and this time together, and to just reconnect, talk more about the beautiful, exciting, and important work, sacred work that you're doing in the world today.
Yay! Thank you so much for having me here. It feels so good. It's so good to be able to connect, and not just one-on-one, but also as a community. And I know that you have a beautiful community, so it's really an honor to be here with you. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. It is so wonderful to connect, and I feel that, you know, the second year into the pandemic and just everybody doing more remote life, you know, whatever they're doing with their mission, and it's just everything's a little bit more remote nowadays. And even though I love to travel, it's slowed down a little bit, but connecting in this way and talking about pretty much timeless things that are on a timeline of the heart, I think is really, really beautiful way to connect with souls worldwide. So thank you.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought up the traveling piece. I think there's so many things that are shifting and changing, and it's like finding our way around it and just being okay with letting certain things go for now, or for who knows for how long.
Yeah, indeed. I mean, I do love traveling, and I try and, you know, travel as much as possible. And it's mostly going to nature, but traveling internationally and as intentionally as in the past, it's a bit of a different process now. And it's an interesting process to do so as gracefully as we used to do before all of this began, with the pandemic specifically is what I'm talking about. So I want to talk to you today. I just feel like it's so important to share who you are and how you walk in the world, because I think the healing frequency of just you being as you are without even doing anything, I think is really powerful and an incredible way to help people and I want to say inspire. That's the word that comes up when I think about you and look at the work that you're doing, and now looking at you, you know, really inspire people to open from the heart space and to feel, I don't know if brave is the word, but to feel inspired to step into a bigger role that has to do with activating their higher self, and that has to do with going beyond the three-dimensional life. And so I know you do so much as a wayshower in consciousness awakening, and I wonder if you want to talk a little bit, speak into that a little bit, the consciousness awakening and what that looks like in the world that you're putting out there today.
So first of all, thank you so much for that introduction. I receive it all. My name is Monica Maria Aparicio, and I'm a 5D intuitive mentor. And it's interesting that you mentioned this 3D, this moving away from the 3D, and that's exactly it. I think that we're all in this process of awakening our consciousness, where we're beginning to look at our lives. Some of us do it because we like that process. You know, we are seekers and we're curious, and it's just the natural nature for some of us, and for others, for others, it's not the natural way. And I think that's one of the blessings of the last 2 years, has just been many people have been guided, whether they want to or not, to go within. And it's been that way for me. And when you say inspire, it's interesting because all I really want is just to experience more life, more freedom, more expansion. And that word inspire is to be breathed, to life be breathed into you, right? It's like when we are inspired, life is breathing through us, and that's the feeling of like, oh, I have an idea, or oh, you know, like this came to me. And that's really what I want for people, is to break free from those constraints. A lot of them are three-dimensional, the ways that we conform to three-dimensional ways of being. And a lot of those things are our own childhood patterns. Honestly, I think it all boils down to our childhood traumas and our patterns and things we haven't unraveled yet, and they keep playing themselves out. And of course, that's so intertwined with that old construct of the 3D life. So I love that you kind of like, you know, you packaged it really well. I'm not really sure. I don't remember your question, but
Yeah, no, there's no question. We're just flowing. And I completely agree with just so much, as you said, conforming to, you know, what we think we need to be, how we need to act, to what we think we should be doing with our life. Even sometimes, even when we think we're doing the things that we want to in the three-dimensional world, that is led by the egoic self in a lot of ways. So I do agree with you that a lot of it stems, and all of it really, to the wounded child. And I know I work a lot with goddess archetypes, and one of my strongest ones is the muse. And while she is the creatrix, you know, the creator of beauty, the holder of the frequency of beauty, and simply life as a moving prayer and being in the way of beauty, creating art, the shadow, that would be the light aspect, and the shadow of it is that wounded child, is that innocence, that soul retrieval that that a lot of us venture into at some point, if we're on this path of walking with an open heart and simply following the path of the soul journey as it speaks to us. So I couldn't agree more with everything stemming from the childhood for a lot of people, and how this consciousness awakening is actually something that we're seeing so much of. And I know you work with a lot of people to support them on their path, and you actually train. I went to a few of your training / workshop / retreat type of events online. And of course, we met at your beautiful event in New York City, which was so fantastic, and one of my first spiritual coming out, as I call it, just like when I was still kind of learning the words to some of the experiences, some of the quantum leaps, and some of the really deep meditations that I was receiving and being open to. And so I know that in your events, you actually help people just support them on the process, and have this like fierce love, this soft love, but the fierce love that is also helping people train that muscle to be loving and accountable with themselves on the path. Because you know, we're talking a little earlier, we were talking a little bit about just how much this healing process, this simply surrendering to the process and the healing is the way of this liberation, right? Of this arrival to a place of success, what you were saying earlier.
Yeah, and I also think I tend to work with people who are also, I'm going to say, off the beaten path, you know, like
okay.
rebels, non-conformist, freedom-loving, creative types, spiritual trailblazers, right? Like there's a way of seeing the world that's a little different than everybody else. And the way that you're here to contribute to it is perhaps a way that nobody else is doing it. And so it takes a lot of courage to be able to come out and say it and show up that way. And when we take the time to really go deep into the healing, like I think there's different layers of healing. One of my first layers of healing, and I think this is one for so many people, is through the body, which is very surface, or so it seems, but it's also very intricate. It's very layered. But the body is such a great avenue or introduction into a spiritual awakening. Sometimes it's like a rude awakening where you just get super sick, you have a chronic illness, or, you know, like near-death experiences. For others, it's just more like really desiring a shift. And that's what happened for me, is that I was living in a neighborhood, and at the time I wanted to eat better, and all I could find was like soy milk. I was like, you know, and it was through my body that I was able to begin to awaken. And so there's like these different layers. And what I do is really help people go really deep to the places where they might have lost pieces of themselves, you know, either consciously or subconsciously, or a combination, you know, where because of a trauma, you hide parts of yourself, or you decide that they're not important, or they're too weird, or too strange, or they're gonna disrupt things, you know, so it's better to just, or keep them separate. And I think that as a society, we have been taught to compartmentalize, you know, like there's like the professional you, and then there's the personal you, and then there's the you that's with friends, and then there's the you that's with family. And it's almost like we've become multiple personality disordered, like a multiple personality disordered soul. And so I really believe, especially for someone who is out to be a spiritual trailblazer, an entrepreneur that wants to do good in the world, that the first step is to really be able to reclaim those parts so that you can really own your full worth, like really value your full self. You can't value your full self if you have a little piece here and a little piece there and parts that you like put away in the closet. Like I feel that in order to really be impactful in the world today, it requires your full presence. And that means like reclaiming back whatever was painful, wounded, hurt, and being able to integrate it so that you transmute the emotional charge into power and into wisdom. And that's the wisdom that you bring forth and then teach to other people. And it's real because it's actual lived through wisdom. It's not something that you just like learned in a course or that you read in a book, or it's your life, and it's really profound. And I just feel that if more people really did this deep, deep healing work, not only would they liberate themselves from like feeling that they're carrying baggage, but they would liberate the expression that they have in their business. You know, like just being able to say whatever they think, doing business as they wish, and really, you know, you're gonna stand out that way. It's like, oh, that person's like all there. Like there's something different about that person. So that's the work, and it's exciting to me. I think that that's where we're heading. That's where we're heading in this new earth, where it's complete transparency, it's authentic, it's real, and it's potent.
Yeah, I agree. And you just said the key word authentic, because, you know, as I'm listening to you speaking, you know, it just sounds like almost like, oh, this is something that is hard work. It's not all love and light, right? It's going through all these different layers, as you were saying, you know, it's an embodied, you know, it's all passing through the body, and the body remembers everything. And
Yeah.
we're learning to love ourselves, including our body and on soul level. But this piece of, you know, showing up as a whole person who is loving themselves, both the light and the shadow aspect, because they're both equally important. And it's in the shadow and this, you know, dark night of the soul that we come up with these beautiful gems, that we come up, that we actually just allow for the gem, for the beauty and the power and the gift to reveal itself. And so I love that you're talking about this showing up fully, because as an authentic individual, it's just something that people can see and feel. You don't have to, there's no act, there's no trying, it's just you're showing up as yourself. And so I really do agree with you. And I'm hearing so much about, you know, the new earth conversation in the world of spiritual leaders, of mentors, teachers, and different experts, where science meets spirituality. And it's really, really exciting. I agree with you. It's so exciting. And talking a little bit about this new earth, you know, movement or point of evolution that we're in, and how it's this free sort of dancing with the life and going with the flow of everything. And where do you, what else would you share about that, and what, you know, what you're feeling right now about where we're at with it, what's needed, or anything?
Yes, it's so interesting. You said how, you know, like this healing work, doing shadow work, it's not fun. I literally was thinking this early, and I was like, wait, it's not that it's not fun, but it asks a lot, you know, like it requires a lot, you know. It's like, okay, I'm gonna really like fully be here. It's almost like digging for gold. There's a process, you know. It's like gotta go deep, you know. And it can be fun, and it should be fun. And I think that's the key to creating new earth, is that more of us need to be in our joy, and we need to follow what makes us happy. Like we really, because it's part of breaking free from that old structure. I was actually listening to, I don't know if you know this book, Bringers of the Dawn by Barbara Marciniak.
No.
It's an old book. You can listen to it on audio on YouTube. I recommend it to anyone who is like here, awake. Check it out, because it is instructions for this time. In it, she talks about what harmonic defiance is. And so we defy, through our own harmony, through our own harmonious state, we defy the old structure, the old frequency, that vibrational frequency. We break, it's like we descend through our own harmony. And so I think that it could be, there's levels of awakening, as I said, right? There's levels of healing. And as we go through this process of looking at the shadow, not only individually, but also on a global scale, there can be periods where we get frustrated, where we get angry, where we get scared, and that's normal. And I think if we can just find our way back to joy, like, okay, what would make me feel happy now? What would be joyful for me? What could I do in this moment that would be joyful? And it could be as simple as, I'm going to take a shower or a bath with my favorite bath products, which is one of mine. I love bath products.
I love, yeah, taking a bath has been a thing for me last couple of years, and it's been a really beautiful sacred time. So yeah, I'm with you in that ceremony, creating ritual and ceremony to be in a sacred space, and self-love in general is a huge pillar in my life and my work, and just the love that I emanate to, you know, everybody else. So I couldn't agree with you more about it's, you know, it's not always fun, but it's that thing where the approach is things in your life are happening for you. They're not happening to you. You're not the spectator. You are the creatrix of it, right? You're the director of the movie. Yeah. So yeah, so creating more joy, and just and overcoming the hurdle of the 3D, which is, again, you know, what you were mentioning earlier in the beginning. It's a construct, it's a reality construct, and it's not the only reality, right? And as a soul being, I feel you, or not you, but any of us is living in also more than one timeline. So when we do this deep work, we're going to different places that include, you know, for some of us, past lives, for some of us, you know, what we are in touch with that's in the future. And that's why we're using these techniques. That's why we're using these different technologies and rituals and ceremonies to access this wisdom and to come closer as the pure essence self, right? So we're shedding, and this shedding can feel uncomfortable and feels like it's not always fun, but it's a tremendously important work, I think, for the heart liberation, where, you know, I think for myself, just the heart liberation came when, for the first time in my life, I actually surrendered, and surrendered as in not give up, but surrender the egoic self to see what is possible, and softening and opening the heart. And in that moment, my life changed dramatically and became this really beautiful, just joyful exploration and dance. And I love that you said body earlier, the things move through the body, because a lot of your videos are just you dancing, just doing this like celebration of life. And I love that.
I need to get back into those. It's interesting. We go through phases, but we need that. We're so in our heads, especially with like constant input of just consuming information and data and visuals, and, you know, a lot of our energy ends up getting stuck up here. And it really is very important to get into the body. Very important.
Yeah, I love when you do those videos, you know, when it's aligned, and it's also like a beautiful way to invite other people to just clear the energy, you know, just reset, just like shed whatever is done and ready to be released. So I love that artistic expression. That's also a ritual invitation, you know, for people to just enjoy, you know, enjoy their own presence. Yeah.
Well, I'm glad you said that. I think that part of what I teach people, and what I believe, and for myself as well, it's a big piece of this. And I know it's for you also, because those beautiful mandalas that you create it's an artistic, the way that you self-express. And I think that every human being needs to find the way that they self-express creatively, you know, whether that's through cooking or dancing or writing or, you know, making beautiful mandalas or painting, whatever it is. It's such a key component. And it's very interesting that art for the last couple of decades has been one of the first subjects that gets cut out of the curriculum in public education, and even in private education, but more so in public education. I don't know if you know this, but I was an art teacher.
I do. Yeah, I remember. Yes.
Yeah, I was an art teacher. Melting a Palo Santo in my candle here.
I love Palo Santo.
So it was like, oh, you know, the budget's getting cut. And it's interesting because it's through creative self-expression that one can become directly connected to the self, to that inner essence that is really you, that is, you know, being inspired out through you to create whatever, to move, to sing, to dance, to, you know, it's a co-creation with the divine.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's such a essential language for people to invest their time and effort in both revealing to themselves what is the language, the artistic expression of their soul, and then to cultivate that, because it really has first of all, it has a ripple effect for others, but that's not even why to do it. It's simply broadening and expanding and allowing for that love frequency to not only flow through you, but continue on and just expand. So I think it's definitely a pillar in what inspires me when I talk to people in my community, and what I'm interested in supporting women, specifically everybody who identifies as a woman. I really am so passionate about supporting women, connecting to that higher self, and just doing the thing, you know they want. So
You know what's
it's
interesting about that you were talking and I was thinking about this. So many people are afraid to be creative. Have you noticed that? You know, where they're like, oh, I can't draw, or I can't paint, or I can't cook, or I
hear people say that a lot. Yes.
Yeah, and it's very interesting because I think maybe there's an underlying inner knowing that's not conscious, that it's like, okay, if I do this, my true self is going to be out there. So I definitely think creativity is a very powerful avenue, and it's one of the avenues that I like to explore with the people that I work with as well. You know, like, how can we be creative about the way that we share what we do?
Yeah, you do create those platforms for creative minds and just spiritually inspired art. Also, I remember the event in New York that you organized, where we met, and it was this like 1-day festival, basically, with all senses awakened through the different artists that were there, through sacred workers, and it was such a beautiful opportunity. And I really think, and I mean, I don't think it, I know it in my heart, this is, really what the world needs so much more of. These types of gatherings where, we talk about our body and our soul and our spirit, and we connect through sound, through diet and Ayurveda and dance and expression, and it's an empowering way where people can just come and be themselves. What you were saying earlier, showing up as yourself without worrying about anything that you think you need to be or do, and just being your authentic self. And so I love that you are creating these platforms, also virtual, in the virtual space now as things stand, and you're offering, simply you're gathering these communities of people, both for the sacred business and as a mentor, as you were saying, but also just a community of people to simply express themselves and find support on their soul journey, on their spiritual path. So I don't know if there's anything that you want to talk about, the community and what you're up to there, or
Yes, well, I would love for anyone who's hearing, for you, and for anyone who connects with this interview, to come and join us. I started a channel on Telegram. It's called Sacred Community Group. And the idea is that right now, it is a little more challenging for us to meet in person. I think what's important is that we need to just bring our energies together. And in Bringers of the Dawn, the book that I mentioned earlier, Barbara mentions that we're all here to raise our own frequency, right? But we can't hold it if we're alone. We're actually meant to be in community, and it's the community energy that sustains the frequency and that keeps it elevated. And so if we can't be in person, or if we just happen to be, you know, like I'm in Colombia, you're in
I'm in Maryland. Yeah.
Maryland, okay. You know, like we could still bring our energies together. So I have the Telegram channel, and I am also launching, well, I launched it, it's still like in a pre-launch mode, but it's a training program for spiritual entrepreneurs who want to learn to really own their value, so that then they can build a community that will also value their wisdom and obviously invest in their wisdom. So that group program is called Freedom Frequency. And again, it's really just about tuning into your own vibration of what brings you joy, what brings you harmony, where do you need to liberate yourself so that you can show up as yourself fully and be seen by the people that want to hear what you have to say, and who will love it, love you for saying it and want to be in your presence. So that's a really huge part of the new earth, is these new communities that we're forming around very clear values that we speak on and we're not afraid to talk about. I think it's interesting in the entrepreneurial world, and again, this relates to that compartmentalization, where it's like, well, this is me and my work, and what I really believe about the world, that's over there. And it's like, okay, you know, to me, I just feel like I wish there was more integration, you know, like a full integration of like, well, this is me, this is all of me, and you get all of me, you know, in whatever capacity we end up being together, whether that's in a friendship or in a mentoring situation, whatever it is. So yes, I invite everyone to come and join the sacred community. I really see this as a movement. Not so much, yeah, it's like my views of what running a business is have completely changed.
Oh, I love that. I mean, you're absolutely right. So many millions of people really are in a need for the type of support that you're talking about, which is simply an encouragement, a nudge, or a safe space where they can go through the motions, go through the process of feeling empowered enough, feeling liberating themselves to step into this more authentic, full showing up fully. And that doesn't go to say that somebody's not authentic. I'm speaking from experience when I say that, you know, oh, I go to work, I have a job, and, you know, this is the profile of that person. And while my entire being is here fully present, you know, to do the job, that's not what's required or even encouraged or asked of me, but that's who's showing up. So yes, not only can you find the place where all of you fits in as such, but this new earth is exactly the place where we create that space in which we come to do, you know, this effortless, joyous engagement that it doesn't feel like work, you know, it just, it feels like, and I think you were also reclaiming this, you know, like, we're not calling it work, we're not really working, we're just loving life and living.
Yeah, like I want to completely abolish that word. I love etymology. I'm a big word nerd. I think that in order for us to fully understand what something is and like what are we even talking about here, understand the words that you're using. And when I was like, wait a minute, what is this work? And all of the words, all of the root words of work were like torture, suffer, compulsory, like punishment, literal. I mean, that's what the word work means. And I was like, well, no wonder it doesn't make any sense. I'm like, I don't want to work for a living. I want to answer my soul's calling. You know, I want to be devoted. I want to have my vocation, you know, where it's like a commitment, a devotion from my heart for what I'm here to do. And I want that for everyone, because then your service, your work, you running your business and you living your life is just an organic expression of your existence. It's just like, I'm alive and this is what I'm doing.
Yes.
And it makes me so happy.
Oh, that is the wisdom. I really want people to hear that. And you can rewind it, everybody who's watching or listening. This is the wisdom. This is the beauty of it. You know, really to really encapsulate what is possible. This is what's possible, is we don't have to show up for work. We only have to show up for ourselves. And through that, we are really elevating the quality of our life and joining in this beautiful community that's available to simply be as you are. It's just, it's amazing. Well, that's really, I mean, that's really key. And thank you so much for articulating that and really sharing the essence. I really love that. And I do know, I always remember that you're going to break it down in words and like, what are the words that we're talking about? So I do love that. And I know a big part of your teaching that I really feel privileged that I was at some of your workshops and sacred space sessions talking about sacred business, where you use words very intentionally to talk about the value, you know, the value, what is the value system? What is the value system behind the sacred business? And what are the values that, that I represent, that I stand for in my business? And teaching people how to truly tap into what that is at the essence of who they are, not just what they think, but really in creating this sacred space to allow for what's already in there to come out. So I love that. I love that you do that type of sharing and teaching people how to articulate, you know, what is the core value of your sacred business for everybody that you help with that.
Thank you. And it, you know, it boils down to you. It's like, for me, I value ease. Like I said, I don't want to work. I don't want to work hard. I want to enjoy what I'm doing. And sure, there's things that, you know, like the other day I was editing a clip I had recorded and it was driving me nuts. And I was like, wait, I can figure this out. And then I felt so satisfied when I was like, oh, that was so easy at the end. So yeah, I think it's just living your life with your values and doing your business that way makes such a big difference.
Yeah, that's wonderful. So I want to make sure that we have time to share anything else that you want to, and really tell people how to get in touch with you. And if you're inviting people, you know, as you said, to your community, but also inviting people to join your wonderful program, you know, just tell us a little bit about you know, how to get in touch with you. And of course, everything will be listed below the video and the audio recording for those who will be listening.
Oh, well, just come, let's get to know each other. I would love to just, if, you know, watch this and you're like, I want to talk to that girl, come talk to me. Find me on Instagram. The link will be under the video. So come and, you know, you can pop a message in there and I'll I look at the other folder periodically and make sure that I answer everyone. You can also find me on Telegram, as I mentioned, so I'll have the Telegram group channel link there as well. And you can always email me. Email me if you're curious, if you want to know more about Freedom Frequency, the training program that will be, it's in pre-launch mode, so it starts during several cycles. But more importantly, I just want to get to know you. So come and connect with me.
Wonderful. Wow, that's really, really so much beautiful, important information. Like I said in the beginning, you know, I was super confident that this is all timeless type of information, that it doesn't matter, you know, when it reaches you. I really think, and I can feel that this is definitely going to support people on their path, and to simply continue, you know, walking the path and loving themselves through both challenging and beautiful times. And so anything else that you want to share before we come to close today's session?
I just want to say thank you so much for creating this beautiful space of connection and sharing. I really have so much gratitude for you. I love seeing you do your beautiful service in the world. So thank you. And thank you to everyone who's watching, especially to those who are really having the courage to live their lives and to show up. Keep doing that.
Thank you. Thank you so much for everything that you do. And I really love you and love all of your work. And you've been such a big, beautiful presence in my life as I was starting on just stepping more fully into this spiritual path. And so I am really grateful and feeling super lucky to share this conversation. And yeah, just joining hands, inviting that 5D community and everybody who is ready to, you know, do their quantum leap together with other people. I think community and group energy is so important and such a beautiful opportunity to support us on the way today. So Monica Maria Aparicio, and we'll have all of the contacts listed below the video, and you can get in touch with her and also connect with her beautiful Freedom Frequency community.
Thank you so much, Taida. Thank you.
Thank you. Love, love, love.